Do you really think golf is a calm sport, full of silence and perfect manners? Today, you're going to see a completely different side of it. Get ready for impossible shots, scandals that shook tournaments, and moments so incredible they seem straight out of a movie. Some players reached glory. Others were marked forever. Forget everything you thought you knew about this sport. Today, we're reliving the 20 most unexpected, shocking, and mind-blowing moments in golf history. Are you ready? Because what's coming will leave you speechless. Let's begin. Number 20. The Tiger Woods gesture that sparked a storm. Who could have imagined that one of the biggest names in golf would make global headlines? But not for his play. It all happened at the 2023 Genesis Invitational. Tiger Woods was paired with his friend Justin Thomas on what seemed like a relaxed round, but with the intensity you'd expect from two champions. Determined to prove he was still competitive despite his injuries, Tiger unleashed a massive drive on the 9th hole, sending the ball far beyond Thomas's. So far, everything seemed normal. But as they walked toward their balls, Tiger reached into his pocket, pulled out a small object, and handed it to Thomas with a sly grin. The gesture went unnoticed until the cameras zoomed in. What Tiger had handed him was a tampon. The implication was obvious. Thomas had hit his shot like a woman. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Some called it a tasteless joke. Others defended it as just harmless banter between friends. Was it a lapse in judgment in the age of social sensitivity? Or simply two buddies sharing a private joke? The controversy was on. And stay tuned, because what's coming at number 19 won't leave you indifferent either. Number 19. Justin Rose's impossible escape. We go to 2024 to the Cognizant Classic in Palm Beaches, where Justin Rose, Olympic medalist, former world number 1, and true magician of golf, was about to experience a real nightmare. On the 13th hole, a par 4 turned into a deadly trap. His tee shot was an absolute disaster. The ball veered sharply to the left, ending up under a construction fence, trapped in a mesh barrier. A situation that for anyone else would have meant a penalty and a near certain bogey. But not for Justin Rose. As the crowd gathered, eager to see how he'd escape the mess, Rose recalled a nearly forgotten rule. You can take your stance outside the boundary if the ball is still in play. And his ball, miraculously, still was. What did he do? He jumped the fence, stepped into someone's backyard, and from 124 yards out, hit a shot that, though not perfect, put him back in contention. And then, the magic happened. With the ball now in position, Rose delivered a surgical strike that left it less than a meter from the hole. A simple put, and one of the most impressive saves of the year. And what's waiting for you at number 18 raises the tension even higher. Number 18, fired in the middle of a round. The 2013 U.S. Women's Open promised to be an epic battle among the best golfers on the planet. The pressure was suffocating. Every shot mattered. And Jessica Korda was having one of those days when everything seems to go wrong. But what happened next left everyone in shock. The tension between Korda and her caddy, Jason Gilroy, was obvious. Argument after argument, mistake after mistake, frustration kept building until it finally exploded. In the middle of the round, with several holes still to play, Jessica did the unthinkable. She didn't wait until the end of the round, not even until the turn. She just let him go, right there, in front of everyone. Jason Gilroy, who minutes earlier had been giving her advice and strategies, suddenly was no longer part of the team. So, what now? Korda needed someone to finish the tournament. She looked toward the stands, locked eyes with her boyfriend, Johnny Del Pret, and called out, "You're up." Luckily, Del Pret was also a professional golfer. He grabbed the bag as if he'd been waiting for that moment his whole life and carried Jessica through to the end. A surreal scene forever remembered as one of the most unusual episodes in the history of women's golf. And if you thought that was surprising, wait until you see number 17. Number 17, the missile that defied all logic. We go to the 2013 Valentine's Championship in South Korea, where Louis Oosthuizen, yes, the same Open champion, was about to record the most surreal drive ever seen. It was a par 5, One of those holes were distance rules. Oosthuizen set up, swung his driver, and what happened next defied all logic. The ball didn't soar majestically down the fairway. It veered sharply to the right, a shot that looked completely lost. And then, the madness began. Instead of stopping after a couple of bounces, the ball kept rolling, and rolling, and rolling for nearly 2 minutes, as if it had an engine inside. The crowd couldn't believe it. Thanks to that miraculous bounce, the shot traveled nearly 500 yards. A dream even for the biggest hitters on the tour. The ball ended up right at the edge of the green, giving him a birdie chance that had seemed impossible just minutes earlier. But in a cruel twist of irony, after such a miracle, Oosthuizen missed the putt and settled for a par. That's golf for you, capable of giving you everything and taking it away in a heartbeat. And what's coming at number 16 will leave you just as speechless. Number 16. Scottie Scheffler's perfect rescue. Genesis Invitational, 2025. Scottie Scheffler, the world's number 1, gave us an unforgettable lesson. Even the best can make true disasters. On the 11th hole at Torrey Pines, a seemingly simple par 3, Scheffler stepped onto the tee, and disaster struck instantly. His shot didn't miss by a little, it flew 50 meters left, landing near the tee of another hole. A mistake worthy of a weekend golfer, not the best player on the planet. Everything pointed to an inevitable bogey. But then, the story took an unexpected turn. When he reached his ball, Scheffler saw it was next to a large water dispenser, classified as a temporary obstruction. That meant he was entitled to free relief. Applying the rules like a true master, he took his drop in the rough, and thanks to the preferred lie rule in effect that day, he was allowed to place the ball on the short grass. From total disaster to a golden opportunity. With the ball in perfect position, Scheffler unleashed his magic. A masterful shot that left the ball just over a meter from the hole, followed by a dead center putt to save par. Everything completely legal, as confirmed by PGA Tour official Orlando Pope. A turn of events that made millions of fans sigh, dreaming of having a day like that. And what's coming at number 15 is even more unbelievable. Number 15. The impostor who snuck into the Open Championship. Golf has seen some unlikely heroes, but none quite like Maurice Flitcroft. In 1976, this British crane operator, with no real tournament experience, not even as an amateur, achieved the impossible. He managed to enter the qualifying stage of the Open Championship, the most prestigious tournament in golf. His method? Simple. On the entry form, he declared himself a professional golfer. No verification, no questions asked. And suddenly, he was sharing the course with real professionals at the Formby Golf Club. What followed was absolute chaos. Flitcroft hacked, topped, and chopped his way through the round, signing an astronomical scorecard of 121 strokes, one of the worst results ever recorded in Open qualifying history. The R&A, organizers of the tournament, quickly uncovered the deception and banned him from entering again. But Flitcroft didn't give up. Obsessed with his impossible dream, he began sneaking into future tournaments under false names: Gene Pasecki, Gerald Hoppe, Arnold Palmtree, each time trying to outdo his own record of disasters. His antics made him a cult legend. He earned the nickname the Royal and Ancient Rabbit, a playful jab at the R&A and at his unforgettable bad play. His story was so unbelievable that in 2021, it became both a book and a movie, The Phantom of the Open. And what's next? Buckle up, because at number 14, even the protagonist himself couldn't believe what he was doing. Number 14, Tony Finau's magical round. Some golfers spend an entire season dreaming of pulling off a couple of chip-ins. But in 2025, at the Genesis Invitational at Torrey Pines, Tony Finau took that dream to the extreme and turned it into pure spectacle. What should have been simple attempts to save par became a collection of shots for the ages. First, on the par 3 third hole, stuck in thick rough between the green and the bunker, Finau pulled out his 60-degree wedge and holed it from 6 meters out. Luck? Just wait. On the next hole, a par 4, he did it again, another chip-in from just over 4 meters. And as if that weren't enough, on the par 3 8th, he grabbed his 56-degree wedge, and once again, the ball dropped into the hole, this time from nearly 9 meters. 3 chip-ins in less than half a round. Even Tony himself couldn't believe it. After finishing, he laughed and said, and he wasn't exaggerating statistically, what he did that day was nothing short of miraculous. While most players spend their best days hoping for just one chip-in, Finau made the impossible look easy. Ready for number 13? Because what happened there feels straight out of a Hollywood movie. Number 13, a Hollywood actor, a fan, and $1 million lawsuit. What you're about to hear sounds like something out of a movie, but it really happened. It was 1981 at the prestigious Bing Crosby National Pro-Am, a tournament where movie stars and professional golfers shared the course in an atmosphere of glamour and relaxation. But for James Garner, the legendary actor from Maverick and the Rockford Files, that round didn't end with a handshake and a cocktail. It ended in court. It all began when a spectator, William Stewart, started interrupting and bothering John Cook, Garner's friend and a professional golfer, right at a critical moment as he was preparing for a putt. In a sport where silence is sacred, Garner wasn't about to stand idly by. What happened next depends on whom you ask. Stewart claimed that Garner punched him in the face, knocking him down. Garner, on the other hand, insisted he only gave him a shove to move him away. Whichever version you believe, the scandal was massive. Stewart sued Garner, demanding $2.2 million in damages for severe mental anguish. The case went to trial in March 1983, turning a quiet golf tournament into front-page news. Golf has seen its share of tense moments, but few as surreal as this, when Hollywood drama invaded the fairways. And stay tuned, because number 12 shows that sometimes true heroes appear when no one expects them. Number 12, the outsider who conquered a major. Some players spend their entire lives fighting for a shot at a major. John Daly wasn't even supposed to be there. Year 1991. PGA Championship at Crooked Stick. The best golfers in the world were ready for battle, and Daly's name wasn't even on the participants list. He was the 9th alternate. A simple, just in case, fully aware that he'd probably never play, until the impossible happened. One by one, players began to withdraw. 8 consecutive dropouts, a chain of events so improbable that suddenly, John Daly was in the tournament. From sitting at home watching TV, to playing in a major. There was just one small detail. He didn't know the course. He hadn't practiced a single hole. He had to borrow a local caddy to guide him blindly through Crooked Stick. The logical approach? Play safe and just try to survive. What did Daly do? Exactly the opposite. By Sunday, against all odds, he was leading the tournament. The crowd couldn't believe it. The cameras couldn't look away. And the best part, he closed it out with authority, winning by 3 strokes and stunning the entire world. A single phone call changed his destiny from 9th alternate to major champion in a matter of days. One of the most improbable and unforgettable victories in golf history. And get ready, because number 11 takes us to one of the most unreal rounds ever played. Number 11, Joel Dahmen's dream round. We go back to 2020 in a time of uncertainty, when the sports world was trying to adapt to the new normal. Joel Dahmen, known for his laid-back personality and his inseparable bucket hat, didn't win the Scottsdale Open that year. That honor went to Zach Smith, but he accomplished something that got everyone talking. Before the tournament, Dahmen went out to play a casual round with some friends at Mesa Country Club in Arizona. Nothing serious, just a friendly match to pass the time. But something clicked. After the first 6 holes, he was 2 under par. So far, so normal. What came next was historic. Over the next 12 holes, he went on an unbelievable run 12 under par, with 3 eagles and 6 birdies. His back 9 score? 26 strokes. Yes, 26. When he holed an eagle on the 18th, his card showed a fantasy number, 58 strokes. To give you some perspective, breaking 60 inches a professional round is an achievement very few players manage in their entire lives. And as if that weren't enough, His playing partners that day were baseball players Ian Happ and Kyle Schwarber of the Chicago Cubs, who could only watch in disbelief as Dahmen rewrote history in a round that, in theory, didn't even matter. That's golf. Sometimes the biggest days come when you least expect them. And what you're about to see, at number 10, is pure history in motion. Number 10, Jake Knapp. And the round that rewrote history, there are good rounds, legendary rounds, and then there's what Jake Knapp did at the 2025 Cognizant Classic, a day forever etched in golf history. It all started like any other round, but from the first green, something felt different. Birdie, then another, and another. 5 straight birdies to open the day. At first, it just seemed like a hot start until the buzz spread. More spectators arrived, more cameras, more tension. 6 under par on the front 9, posting a 29, and he was just getting started. Knapp kept his foot on the gas. And suddenly, he stood on the brink of something almost no golfer even dreams of. A 59 inches a professional round. 4 holes left. Just one more birdie needed. On the 15th hole, facing a 31-foot putt, the entire gallery held its breath. The ball rolled, and dropped. Now history was within reach. Par on 16, par on 17. It all came down to the 18th. A perfect drive. A pinpoint approach. He left himself 6 meters for eagle. A 58 was on the table. Knapp focused. Read the break. Took a deep breath. Rolled the putt. It lipped out. The collective gasp was as loud as the eruption of applause that followed. It didn't matter. Knapp tapped in for birdie and sealed a historic 59. The first ever at PGA National. The first ever recorded in Florida. A moment forever engraved in golf history. And stay tuned, because number 9 feels straight out of a comedy. Number 9. When the bathroom ruined Tyrrell Hatton's concentration, we go to the 2019 Turkish Airlines Open, where Tyrrell Hatton was about to prove that in golf, any distraction can be fatal, even a very unglamorous one. Hatton was preparing for a crucial shot. Maximum focus, absolute silence, as tradition in golf demands. But just as he was about to start his swing, boom, a bathroom door slammed, shattering the silence like thunder. Annoyed, Hatton stopped mid-swing, looked around, and without holding back, asked, "Was that you? What are you doing?" And then, the scene took an even more unexpected turn. The culprit was none other than his fiancée, Emily Bracher. The commentators burst into laughter. And Hatton, always quick with his humor, added, "You should be ashamed." The moment went viral almost instantly, reminding everyone that even in top-level competition, there's always room for a good laugh, even if it comes at the worst possible time. And stay tuned, because at number 8, a young prodigy was about to etch his name into golf's grand history. Number 8, Collin Morikawa's historic feat. We go back to the Open Championship 2021 at Royal Street, Georges, where a 24-year-old was about to accomplish something not seen since 1926. Collin Morikawa, fresh off his victory at the PGA Championship, arrived at his first Open, and not just any course, but one of the most unpredictable and unforgiving. Classic links golf. Wild winds, treacherous bunkers, impossible greens. A setup where even the veterans struggle. Many thought his lack of experience would catch up to him. They were wrong. In the final round, starting just 1 stroke behind leader Louis Oosthuizen, Morikawa played as if he had spent his entire life mastering those dunes. While others crumbled under pressure, he was a wall shot after shot, putt after putt, taking complete control. When he walked up the 18th fairway, it was already clear. He wasn't just winning, he was making history. With one final putt for par, he sealed a 2-shot victory over Jordan Spieth and joined a legendary club. Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Rory McIlroy, the only players ever to win 2 majors in their first 2 appearances, all before turning 25. A performance for the ages. And stay tuned, because number 7 brings us to a disqualification that shocked the entire golf world. Number 7. Craig Stadler's most bitter disqualification. We go back to 1987 at the San Diego Open in Torrey Pines, where Craig Stadler, nicknamed the Walrus, was in contention for the title. After completing 72 holes, Stadler was tied for second place, just 4 shots behind leader George Burns. But as he walked off the 18th green, a PGA Tour official approached him with devastating news. During the third round, on the 14th hole, Stadler had hit his ball under a tree. To play the shot, he had to kneel down, and to avoid dirtying his pants, he placed a towel on the ground. An innocent gesture, right? Wrong. It turned out to be a violation of Rule 13-3 of the golf rulebook, which prohibits building an artificial stance or support to make a stroke. Someone watching on television had noticed it and reported it. After reviewing the footage, officials concluded that Stadler had indeed broken the rule, and since he hadn't added the 2-stroke penalty before signing his scorecard, the punishment was brutal: immediate disqualification. The decision cost him more than $37,000 in prize money and a priceless second-place finish, one of the most remembered and most debated penalties in golf history. And stay tuned, because number 6 takes us to another historic round, one that shattered all known limits. Number 6. Jim Furyk's second historic round. We move to the Travelers Championship at TPC River Highlands, where Jim Furyk, a 6-year-old veteran with a U.S. Open and a FedEx Cup to his name, was about to write one of the most incredible chapters in golf history. The week hadn't been easy. He barely made the cut on Friday, and after a mediocre Saturday round of 72, he sat 16 shots behind the leader, tied for 70th place. No one expected anything special from his Sunday round, until the magic began. Par on the first hole, then birdie, eagle, birdie. In the blink of an eye, he was 8 under par through the first 9 holes, signing for a 27, just 1 shot off the PGA Tour record for a front 9. The news spread like wildfire. Furyk was doing something historic. On the back 9, he didn't slow down 6 more birdies, as the crowd swelled to witness the miracle. He reached the 18th hole, needing only a par to make history, the first 58 inches PGA Tour history. His approach shot stopped about 8 meters away. He left the first putt short, but it didn't matter. He holed the par putt and sealed the perfect round. With his 58, Jim Furyk didn't just break barriers. He became the first player in PGA Tour history to shoot below 60, twice. An achievement forever etched in golf's record books. And get ready, because we're entering the top 5, and what's coming next surpasses all imagination. Number 5. The day Tiger Woods lost the impossible. We move to the 2009 PGA Championship at Hazeltine National Golf Club, where everything seemed set for another triumphant walk for Tiger Woods. Tiger was in his natural habitat, leading the tournament by 2 strokes, heading into the final round. And there was one overwhelming fact. The 14 previous times he had led a major after 54 holes, he had won all 14. The story already seemed written. His rival was Y.E. Yang, a virtually unknown South Korean golfer, ranked 110th in the world. Everyone assumed he would be just a supporting character on Tiger's path to his 15th major. But Yang had other plans. Instead of shrinking under the shadow of a legend, Yang rose to the occasion. Little by little, he closed the gap until the pivotal moment. The 14th hole. From 210 yards out, Yang hit a flawless hybrid shot that left the ball barely 3 meters from the hole. He drained the putt for eagle and took the lead. Heading to the 18th with a 1-shot advantage, Yang knew history was within his reach. And he didn't miss. His approach was perfect, setting up an easy birdie. Tiger, for the first time in his major career, had no answer. His shot flew over the green, ending in a bogey, and his aura of invincibility shattered. Final score: Yang 70, -2, Tiger 75, +3. Yang not only won the tournament, he became the first Asian player ever to win a men's major, proving that even legends can fall. And what awaits you at number 4 is pure Olympic chaos. Number 4. The crazy playoff at the Tokyo Olympics. We go to the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, held in 2021, where golf experienced one of the most chaotic and unpredictable moments in its history. After 72 holes, 7 players, yes, 7 finished teeth, battling for a single bronze medal. Rory McIlroy, Collin Morikawa, Paul Casey, Hideki Matsuyama, Sebastián Muñoz, Sete, Pan, and Mito Pereira, each representing a different country. What followed was pure madness. They had to split into 2 groups just to begin the playoff. On the first hole, Casey and Matsuyama were eliminated, but the remaining 5 advanced after making par. Second hole, all tied again. The tension was unbearable. Third hole, Morikawa, fresh off his win at the Open, struck a magnificent shot that left the ball just inches from the cup for a near-certain birdie. But see, T-Pan, in an act of absolute composure, matched him with another birdie, knocking out the rest. It all came down to a final head-to-head. They returned to the 18th hole. Morikawa landed in the bunker and made bogey. Pan stayed steady, made par, and secured the Olympic bronze medal. One of the longest, most tense, and most spectacular playoffs ever seen in golf history. And stay tuned, because what comes at number 3 defies all logic. 3 times over. Number 3. 3 holes in one in a single season. In the world of golf, there are players who go their entire careers without making a single hole in one. But in 2024, Joe Highsmith did something that defies all odds. It all started at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, where Highsmith holed out directly from the tee on the 5th hole at Detroit Golf Club. A few months later, he repeated the feat at the American Express on the 13th hole of the stadium course at PGA West. But what happened at the Wyndham Championship was simply insane. On the 12th hole, a 189-yard par 3 at Sedgefield Country Club, his ball landed about 7 meters past the flag, bounced off a ridge, and began to roll slowly but unstoppably until it disappeared into the hole. With that shot, Highsmith became the first player since 1983 to make 3 holes in one in the same PGA Tour season. And as if that weren't enough, his last ace was even more special. That very same day, on that very same hole, defending champion Lucas Glover had also made a hole-in-one. It was as if the 12th hole had decided to attract perfection. An extraordinary record for an absolutely unforgettable year. And stay tuned, because number 2 takes us to the greatest comeback of all time, and one of the greatest stories in all of sports. Number 2. The greatest comeback in history. Tiger Woods at Augusta. Some moments in sports seem too perfect to be real. This was one of them. For more than a decade, Tiger Woods was untouchable, the best golfer of his generation, perhaps of all time. But by 2017, his future was uncertain. A devastating back injury, multiple surgeries, a humiliating arrest. The giant had fallen. The world had already written him off. But Tiger hadn't. Fast forward to the 14th of April 2019, the Masters at Augusta. Woods began the final round, 2 shots behind Francesco Molinari. The leaderboard was packed with stars, the odds stacked against him. Then, shot by shot, hole by hole, Tiger began to climb. While others crumbled under pressure, he stood firm. When he holed a birdie on the 15th to take the lead, Augusta erupted. On the 16th, his tee shot brushed perfection, flirting with a hole-in-one. It didn't drop, but left him with the easiest birdie of his life. Now it came down to one final hole. When the ball fell, the roar was deafening. Tiger raised his arms to the sky, just as he had 22 years earlier when he won his first Masters. But this time was different. This was the return of the fallen hero, the resurrection of a legend who never gave up, a victory that not only redefined his career, but redefined the history of sport itself. And hold on tight, because what happened at number 1 defies all human logic. Number 1, the greatest collapse in golf history. Jean Van de Velde, 1999. We've arrived at one of the most unexpected, dramatic, and unforgettable moments in the entire history of golf. It's 1999. and we're at Carnoustie, Scotland. Jean van de Velde stood on the tee of the 18th hole at the Open Championship with a 3-shot lead. He only needed a double bogey to become the first Frenchman to win the Open since 1907. The claret jug already seemed his. But what happened next was almost unbelievable. Instead of playing it safe with an iron, Van de Velde pulled out his driver. His ball flew erratically to the right but miraculously stayed in play, barely clearing the Barry Burn. He still had plenty of margin. He just needed to play smart. But he decided to go straight for the green on his second shot. The ball hit the grandstands, bounced off a wall, and ended up buried in the thickest rough imaginable. A moment to play it safe? Not for Van de Velde. His third shot was even worse. It went straight into the Barry Burn. In an image forever etched in golf history, Van de Velde waded into the water, pants rolled up, contemplating hitting the ball from the stream before finally taking a drop. His fifth shot found a bunker. He managed to get out and miraculously hold the putt for a triple bogey 7, forcing a playoff. But the damage was already done. In the playoff, the emotional weight was too much. Paul Lawrie, who had started the day 10 shots behind, completed one of the greatest comebacks of all time and took home the trophy. The day Jean van de Velde stood just inches from glory and ended up writing one of the greatest tragedies the sport has ever seen. And that concludes our look back at the 20 most unexpected moments that have shaken the world of golf. Every shot, every mistake, every triumph reminds us that in this sport, as in life, nothing is written until the very last second. Today, we've seen that history isn't always written by the favorites, but by those who dare to challenge the impossible. If you've enjoyed this journey as much as we did creating it, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming videos, where we'll continue uncovering stories that defy all logic. And of course, we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments which of these moments left you the most amazed. Thanks for joining us on this adventure. See you in the next video.